up with a pope, they go in another round of voting. Now, if they have concluded and they have come up with a pope, what happens is they put a white chemical and they burn the votes. Now, when you see the white smoke coming out of that 60-feet chimney, it is time to jubilate, to glorify the Lord that a pope has finally been elected.
Wonder why they use black smoke and white smoke.
You know, some of these people, our color, for some reasons I don't know, because I'm waiting when I'll see a white devil.
Good morning, Olive. I knew I had to get you on that. But surely, indeed, yes, please. White smoke, black smoke.
I think it's humans who assign colors to a certain group of people.
Yes.
Because the honest truth is that we are not black people. We are brown people, right? But because
have blue ones.
we are dark-skinned, we are brown people, the word black was used by the colonialists to describe us as savages, not necessarily because we are black. Because if you ask me, do you know a person who is this color? Have you ever seen anyone? Even the South Sudanese that are very dark are not like this. So when they say black, it is semantics. So I won't give credence to black or white smoke. I'm not going to buy into that narrative to feel sorry about myself. We are beautiful people. Our color is beautiful. And the fact that it is related to something that is not nice, I mean, tell me a lady that wears a little black dress and doesn't look beautiful.
Like I am. Just saying.
No, when she talks about black people, we are very...
It is true, except...
But just to tell her that actually, they are real black people, and there are really some people who are extremely black.
Are they black or dark-skinned?
It's called dark-skinned.
They're not black.
Some are like blue.
Do you know a person who looks like this?
It's having different shades of dark tones.
No, with colors, I can't win the ladies. I'm not that very perfect when it comes to colors.
But oh well, I guess the narratives
but
have
shall
been
wait for the white or black smoke?
I wish it were red or green. But it's so good to have you both.
Yes.
Now that the Pope is being buried tomorrow, what is the aftermath? I'll start with Olive. What do you think the aftermath is looking like? The new Pope coming in, the tension of the world in matters who will be the next Pope.
Well, we still don't know yet who will be until that white smoke comes out. Then we will know who indeed will be the next Pope. Maybe we need to know who was the first Pope, because I don't think that has been
in modern
shared.
church or...
No, who was?
Where they tell us once had a black...
The modern church.
So the first Pope was Saint Peter, who was one of Jesus Christ's 12 apostles and is considered the first Pope of the Roman Catholic Church. He was appointed by Jesus himself, making his selection divine rather than through a conclave like modern popes. And he served as the Bishop of Rome until his martyrdom around 64-68 AD. So Simon Peter was the first Pope.
One of the disciples.
Yes, chosen, the man who denied Jesus, but he later repented. I wish Judas Iscariot repented, but guilt was too much for him. He decided to commit suicide. He actually died before the resurrection occurred. He committed suicide
the first Pope
immediately.
was appointed by Jesus Christ.
Yes.
But I also want to believe that every Pope, if you look at this process, where we see these men of God, 31 of them, the room where they convene, are you aware that room is stripped of any communication device?
Yes.
They are not allowed to watch TV. They're not allowed to have access to their phones or any communication. So they are seeking the Lord to give them direction on who becomes the next Pope. And I want to believe that also that one is appointed by Jesus through these people to lead the Catholic Church.
Of course.
Now let's look at some of the tributes from the different celebrities to the Pope, and starting off with one from Eva Longoria. She went to her Instagram and stated that, "Rest in peace, Your Holiness Pope Francis, thank you for being an ally to many of us and speaking up for the marginalized. Your compassion, kindness, and humility will always be remembered. But she was not the only one. Whoopi Goldberg also went to her Instagram and said he was the closest in a long time that seemed to remember that Christ's love enveloped believer and non-believer. He felt more like Pope John the 23rd, who made belief real. Sail on, Pope Francis, with your love of humility and laughter. Now, if you have watched the series The Chosen, then you know the gentleman who acts as Jesus, Jonathan Rumi. He is such a staunch Catholic, and he too went to his Instagram and shared that my deepest condolences to all who knew him and are affected by his loss. As a Catholic, getting to meet the Pope, the successor to Saint Peter, is one of the grandest honors a person can receive. The fact that I had been given the grace to meet him twice is something for which I will ever be profoundly grateful. Finally, looking at one from Leonardo DiCaprio, he went to his Instagram as well and stated Pope Francis was a transformational leader, not only for the Catholic Church, but also for environmental reform and activism. He demonstrated a deep and unwavering commitment to environmental stewardship, most notably through his groundbreaking 2015 encyclical Laudato Si. This powerful document served as a clarion call for a fundamental shift in how we relate to the planet. Those are some of the tributes from the different celebrities all over the world to Pope Francis, who shall be buried tomorrow.
Now,
10
Julie,
a.m.
No Africa.
Local Roman
they
time.
have all given their tributes, Robert. The entire world, African cardinals and everyone. They've been
African celebrities.
Julie.
Oh, wow, yes, please.
Yes. So we have talked about the first pope,
Yes.
but now we also understand that the conclave takes period between 15 to 20 days.
Yes.
Now, the fastest decision for a pope to ever come out happened on the first day, and that was in 1939. They went in, and this pope, Pope Pius the 12th, he was voted on the very first day of the conclave after just 3 ballots. So the conclave began on March 1st, 1939, and he was elected that same day.
So the
Was he
moment
from
the
Italy?
predecessor passed on.
He
the
was
15 to 20 days are from the moment
yes.
the Pope passes
So
on.
the very first day when they went in, they voted for him. He was a well-respected Vatican diplomat and Secretary of State before his election, which made him a clear favorite and contributed to the quick decision. Now, there is also a pope who was the longest conclave decision, and according to my research, the longest papal conclave in history took place in Viterbo, Italy, and lasted nearly 3 years.
3 years?
Yes.
Wow.
So it began in 1268 and ended in 1271.
So for 3 years there was no pope for the Catholic
Yes,
Church.
so it followed the death of Pope Clement IV, and the conclave dragged on because the cardinals were deeply divided and couldn't reach a consensus. Eventually, local officials in Viterbo got so frustrated that they locked the cardinals in, reduced their food rations, and even removed the roof of the building to expose them to the elements, hoping it would speed things up. And finally, they agreed on a compromise candidate, and they got Pope Visconti, who wasn't even a cardinal at the time, and he became Pope Gregory X.
Wow, the ways of man shall always indeed be confusing. And
I just pray.
But you
But,
see, this ridiculous long conclave actually led to more and more reforms in the Vatican and in how a pope is chosen.
Imagine reducing
right.
food ratios for men.
Locking you out.
Hey,
to
food
make-
Locking is okay,
Food
but
is
when you
serious.
go tell them it seems you're having a comfortable life.
Robert
Food is
mentioned
serious.
what is
Robert,
most
please.
important.
Robert, take us away with what's on the local scene.
What a Friday. President Yoweri Museveni has received His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, the newly elected chairperson of the African Union Commission at State House Entebbe. That was yesterday afternoon. During the meeting, President Museveni extended his heartfelt congratulations and reaffirmed Uganda's continued support to the African Union's vision and mission. His Excellency, a seasoned diplomat from Djibouti, was elected chairperson of the African Union Commission in February this year. President Museveni praised His Excellency Yusuf's appointment, calling it a win for regional unity and Pan-Africanism. The two leaders also discussed key issues affecting the continent, including peace and security and the importance of strengthening African-led initiatives for self-reliance. President Museveni emphasized the need to tackle the root cause of conflict in Somalia, particularly identify best politics and tribalism, which have undermined the establishment of a stable national army. He also stressed the importance of collective welfare for soldiers as a key pillar of military strength. His Excellency Yusuf is currently participating in an extraordinary summit of troop contributing countries to the African Union Support and Stabilization Mission in Somalia, which commenced on April 2022 and is scheduled to end on April 2025 and the 25th. Moving on, President Museveni has pledged to designate telecommunication towers as critical national infrastructure to curb rampant vandalism that continues to affect communication and service delivery across the country. He made the assurance while meeting officials from American Tower Uganda, led by Dr. Amina Zawede, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance at State House Entebbe. ATC Uganda is a provider of wireless communications infrastructure in Uganda and operates as a subsidiary of American Tower Corporation, a global real estate investment trust specializing in telecommunications infrastructure. During the meeting, President Museveni said he would direct police to link surveillance cameras to telecommunication towers with the national security system to allow real-time monitoring and improve response to theft and vandalism. The president also supported tougher penalties for vandals, suggesting that if legal administrative orders of no bail to criminals and vandals are established, it will serve as a deterrent. He urged telecommunication companies to install cameras and reinforce tower security by using tamper-proof materials. The National Identification Registration Authority has officially taken over the marriage registration function from the Uganda Registration Services Bureau. This initiative is part of government's rationalization of public expenditure RAPEX program. The National Identification and Registration Authority, NERA, has emphasized its commitment to growth, transformation, and transitioning all barriers as it officially takes over the mandate of handling civil marriage functions from the Uganda Registration Services Bureau. Describing the transition, officials from URSB likened the process to bribe moving from one family to another, assuring of the seamlessness and smooth handover of responsibility. The peaceful and well-coordinated transition was commended by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. In Uganda, recognized forms of marriage include civil, church, Muslim, customary, and Hindu marriage. Now, finally, on the local scene, the closing day of UBC Strategic Budgeting and Planning Meeting for the financial year 2025-2026 and NDP 4 alignment was marked by several amendments in the corporation's vision, mission and reinvestment plans. The Board of Directors is optimistic that reliable financing, infrastructure enhancement, and staff retooling will enable total realization of its mandate. The two-day meeting by the Uganda Broadcasting Corporation Board, administration and department managers was concluded with several action points in line with investing to see the national broadcaster's capacity to realize 100% of its national coverage mandate. Sitting for its second term, the board is now fully cognizant of the corporation's hindrances, but are glad to report progress as they project success in the near future. During the NDP4 period, 2025-2030, UBC is planning to roll out direct-to-home DTH broadcasting technology to supplement the current digital terrestrial transmission DTT to see the goal of full national coverage realized. Another key issue the board is prioritizing is the forthcoming National Development Plan in enhancing staff salaries. The national broadcaster, UBC, oversees 11 radio stations and 4 TV stations that transmit government central programming in over 40 languages across different parts of the country. Now, that brings us to the end of our local stories.
All right, Olive, what is on the foreign scene?
Well, on the foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump has said he is not happy with the deadly Russian strikes on Kyiv and that President Vladimir Putin should stop, but has not said if further action might be taken against Russia. Overnight into Thursday, the attacks on the Ukrainian capital killed at least 12 people and injured dozens of others. The U.S. president said he is putting a lot of pressure on both sides to end the war in Ukraine following the deadliest attacks Kyiv has seen since last July. It is the latest road bump in efforts to advance a peace deal between the two countries, something the United States president said he would be able to quickly do as part of his election campaign last year. In rare criticism of Russian President Vladimir Putin, Trump wrote in a post on Truth Social, and I quote, "Not necessary and very bad timing, Vladimir, stop." The attack has come at a time of growing pressure on Ukraine and President Volodymyr Zelensky to accept Russian occupation of its territory as part of a peace deal. Now moving on, the leader of the Roman Catholic Church in England and Wales has said he definitely will not be the next pontiff, but is looking forward to the intimidating duty of choosing Pope Francis's successor. Following Pope Francis's death, the next pope will be chosen by the College of Cardinals, who will gather for a tradition known as the Conclave. Cardinal Vincent Nichols will vote with more than 100 others, but almost missed out as he is only a few months off his 80th birthday, the age limit for voting rights. The Merseyside-born Archbishop of Westminster said he thought it would pass me by until he heard that the Pope was seriously ill and thought, "Oh Lord, this is going to come my way." The conclave, which traditionally starts after a 2-week mourning period, sees the College of Cardinals gather in the Vatican Sistine Chapel to cast a series of votes to choose the next pope. Theoretically, any baptized man can be elected as pope, but a cardinal is usually picked. There are currently 252 cardinals, and while all can take part in the debate about who should be chosen, the voting age restriction means only 135 who are under 80 can vote. And lastly, a normally bustling border crossing between Tanzania and Malawi was noticeably quieter than usual on Thursday as a result of an escalating regional trade row. From midnight, Tanzania banned the entry of all agricultural imports from Malawi and South Africa in response to what it sees as restrictions on some of its exports. South Africa has for years prohibited the entry of bananas from Tanzania. Malawi last month blocked imports of flour, rice, ginger, bananas and maize from its northern neighbor. We are taking this step to protect our business interests. In business, we must all respect each other, Tanzania's Agriculture Minister Hussein Bashe said on Wednesday, confirming the ban. Diplomatic efforts to resolve the trade issues have so far failed, but Bashe said fresh talks were ongoing. The role comes at a time when Africa is supposed to be moving towards a greater free trade through the establishment of a continent-wide free trade area, which began operating 4 years ago. South African exports of various fruits, including apples and grapes to Tanzania, will be hit. Meanwhile, landlocked Malawi, which has relied on Tanzania's ports to carry its exports such as tobacco, sugar and soybeans to the rest of the world, will have to reroute its goods. Well, Julie, if you ask me, it's rather sad what's going on in Tanzania, Malawi and South Africa. We are supposed to be moving forward, especially after the recent CADA conference. What we were trying to get were solutions to the agricultural problems we are having in Africa and to ensure food safety, and now we have this. It's rather baffling.
God help Africa. Now, taking a quick look at what is on the dailies, starting with the new vision, new targets for public servants start. And those who will fail face demotion or dismissal. That is in the new vision. But also King Oyo there, who commends Inspire Africa. And in the beat today, women who play instruments. I wonder if it must be an issue anyway, or a topic. Women and men play instruments. But anyway, that is a story to look forward to in the new vision. And how new pop will be voted. Looking at the Daily Monitor, traditions, rituals in Pop's funeral. And the process there is displayed, but one that is outstanding is that Francis will be buried in a single coffin rather than the 3 used by the previous popes. 3 coffins to bury one.
Yes.
Wow. Anyways, Tororo leaders welcome creation of new districts. Job opportunities in there in the Daily Monitor. And in the scoop, how UPRS is rebuking trust and the future of Uganda's music rights. Now looking at the Citizen, why trade spat with Malawi, South Africa is mutually harmful. And a virtual hearing of Lisu case sparks legal battle, but also government targets 1.56 trillion shillings from state-owned corporations, and DCEA seizes 14 tons of chemicals linked to production of narcotics. Finally, in the Daily Nation, Duwale paves way for SHA tycoons to pocket billions. And still in the Daily Nation, thousands line up to view Pop's body ahead of funeral tomorrow. Kwame, why IMF debt sums for Kenya did not add up. And math is now compulsory in senior school. That is in the Daily Nation. Finally, Kenya agrees to multi-way funding plan for SGR extension. Well, that makes it for the dailies, but also finally and lastly to look at what is in the Gazette. In the Gazette today, we do have the Pre-Primary and Primary Post Act in there. But also there is the Advocates Act, the Companies Act, the Insolvency Act notice, the Copyright and Neighboring Rights Regulation, the Local Government, International Institute of Health Sciences, and Biofields Regulation, as well as the Political Parties and Organizations Act, DP Constitutional Amendments, the Police Control of Private Security Organizations, the Trademarks Act. There is also Ministry of Education and Sports, and that is the new appointment and replacements to Board of Governors in there. There is also the Advocates Act, Notice of Application for Certificate of Eligibility, and a Notice of Application for a Certificate of Eligibility as well, both by Well, that brings us to the end of the dailies, and it brings us to go in for a short break with song by a musician who inspires many youths here in Uganda. That is Eddie Kenzo with the song Weekend. Good morning, Uganda.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
BCTV, my name is Julie Nantabamusisi, and I am with the usual fantastic two. Now, the week has been consumed with mourning the Pope the whole week, and he shall be buried tomorrow, 10 a.m. local time in Rome, but that's about 11 a.m. East African time. And a lot of tributes have gone through. We shall be looking at tributes from celebrities all over the world, some celebrities who have paid their tributes to the Pope. But if you want to also share your own tribute and pay your respects to the Pope, feel free to go to Rubaga Church and write in the condolence book that has been availed for you there to pay your respects. But good morning. We continue to mourn the Pope, and the send-off will be tomorrow. And at least we say that well done, good and faithful servant. Good morning, Robert.
A lovely morning to you. It's been a sad week, but of course the Pope's death is something that is going to be with us for some time. Because much as we've been now looking at tributes from different people globally, heads of states, celebrities and all that, now the burial is tomorrow. Then after the burial, still we are not resting until we've got the 267th Pope elected. Well, after the burial, we shall have the time to wait. Is it black smoke or white smoke? Because when these people go into their process of electing the 135 cardinals, every round of voting, they burn the papers and they add chemicals now. If the voting has not been conclusive, they add a chemical and the smoke comes out black in a 60-feet chimney. So the world awaits. Now, when you see black smoke, you know they have not yet come up with a Pope. They go in another round of voting. Now, if they have concluded and they have come up with a Pope, what happens is they put a white chemical and they burn the votes. Now, when you see the white smoke coming out of that 60-feet chimney, it is time to jubilate, to glorify the Lord that a Pope has finally been elected.
Wonder why they use black smoke and white smoke.
You know, some of these people, our color, for some reasons, I don't know, because I'm waiting when I'll see a white devil.
Good morning, Olive. I knew I had to get you on that. But surely, indeed, yes, please. White smoke, black smoke.
I think it's humans who assign colors to a certain group of people.
Yes.
Because the honest truth is that we are not black people. We are brown people, right? But because
have blue ones.
when we are dark skinned, we are brown people.
UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning once again, Uganda. Thank you so much for joining UBC TV. In case you've just joined in and in case you started with us, thank you so much for sticking around. It's Good Morning Uganda. Julie, Olive and Robert are with you to talk into your Friday and start it with light conversation, but at the end of the day, one that inspires you to be a better version of yourself. Now, in the dailies this week, there was a story of teachers decrying soft undisciplined children. Now, in this day and age, there is a lot of language used that needs to be dug into, but also the why not, and words are not just used. And it's a conversation we want to dig deep into, especially the fact that at least I'm blessed that Olive and Robert are parents, so they'll give us a wider perspective of what that looks like, and parents with children in schools at that. So stick around and be a part of the conversation. If you're a parent, if you are looking forward to being a parent, if you are a teacher, if you are a guardian, someone who is looking over children and after children, this is one to look forward to. So once again, good morning and join in. Starting with you, Robert. When they say teachers decry soft and disciplined, what do you understand by soft?
Well, for disciplined, for indiscipline, that I can listen to the teachers.
Okay.
Because yes, an indisciplined child, no one wants to be around them. Now, when we go to soft, first I was trying to look for the definition of this phrase. Now, soft children is often used to describe children who are perceived as lacking resilience or strong work ethics. This perception or perspective can stem from various factors that include helicopter parenting, now another phrase there, focus on preventing failure or general lack of exposure to challenges. It is important to note that the term soft can be subjective and is often used to express a preference for more traditional parenting style. Now, first, I love that this is subjective. What you may think my child is soft, to me it may not be.
It's relative.
It's relative. Then second, we have the world has evolved. And now let's come to believe and be realistic. That some of the things are just in the mentalities, in the minds of so many people. Because yes, let's be very honest. When I was growing up in the area where I grew up, I would walk if my dad scouts down. I would walk some good distance to the main road and get a taxi, then come to the taxi park. And by then you couldn't have taxis coming to Nakasero, so I would walk to Nakasero Primary School.
Even now.
We were battle-hardened.
Going to Nakasero.
But at least now there are borders.
Okay.
Now, as I was reaching some class, there are borders of bicycles. So my parents would give me a 200, and these borders of bicycles would take me. Later came motorcycles. Today, life of, you can't walk those distances, even our children. Now, we even have school vans that pick them from sleep being worked on properly. Then, now, there are those type of children. Not to rule out that we still have children who even cross rivers and go on boats
Yes.
to school. Not to rule out that we still have children who have to sit under a tree to study on empty stomachs. Now, someone is going to look at this child from a corporate family, this child from a fairly positioned family and say these are soft children. And already they have the bias that because of how they are brought up, they are even indisciplined. Because when you tell that child that, you know what, get that jerry can and go a certain distance and bring me water, that child may not be able, because this child has not fetched water from a well or a borehole. This child all their lives, water has been in the home. You know, you wake
Very
up, you
interesting
go.
perspective there.
Yes, but because for you, you have that, you are going to describe this child as soft. That's why I told you that for soft, I may not buy into second. These days, let's be very honest. I don't know, for some reasons, there are many diseases that children are having today that they didn't have previously. So a parent, you must handle this child, would we say, in a soft life. Now, when you take this child to school and you find a traditional teacher who has that traditional mindset, they'll look at your child as soft. I one time remember a teacher who said, how do you pack water? You pack juice, then you pack this, 3 types.
So essentially, from what you're submitting, it means that teachers or schools are not being as flexible as the world is.
As the world is.
Now, let me
so they
engage
term that these are soft children. No, they are just only blessed that life has shaped them.
And the teachers
that
are
way.
being conservative.
And the teachers are have that archaicness, that
Not even conservative.
that's
I like that he's saying
Archaic,
yes,
yeah,
that
it's
yeah,
archaic.
because why am I very so touched about this? Because I've had these cases, a child that parents are invited, but when you look at what the teachers are speaking, you're like, "Mtu iti dechi." Was this really, you know?
Olive,
Yeah.
now Robert has elaborated on the language of you saying soft children.
Yes.
And he said that he might listen to indisciplined, but
That I
he doesn't
listen.
get it. But let me now pose the indisciplined one to you, because there is also a relative degree of indisciplined. Like we've just seen, there are many teachers who are very archaic in nature, who are not willing to be at par with the rest of the world, and to them anything they do not understand, anything that does not translate to their language will still come with a conclusion that it's indiscipline.
Yes. First of all, let's answer the question, what is indiscipline? We begin there, okay? Teachers, and what do teachers term as being indisciplined, and what do they term as being disciplined? And I'll tell you, when you look at behavior in children, an undisciplined child might be defiant, impulsive, disrespectful, or struggles to follow rules at home and in school. And emotionally, they may have difficulty managing frustration, delaying gratification, or handling disappointment. Now, as adults, the indiscipline may show up as poor time management, inability to keep commitments, impulsive decision making, or a lack of consistency in behavior. Why am I giving us this description? Are teachers telling us that children that are basically nurtured in a soft parenting style have these attributes that I have just mentioned, that if we can go back, that because according to them, these children are indisciplined, and one wonders, are they trying to say that a child that has been raised without corporal punishment, a child that has been raised without being yelled at, does not know how to keep time, does not know how to listen to instructions, does not know how to keep order in, let's say, a classroom? Are they saying that is the case? Because if that's what they're saying, they could be right, because they deal with different children, but they're not 100% right. Because what is soft parenting, Julie? Soft parenting is a nurturing, empathetic approach that prioritizes emotional connection, open communication, and respect for a child's individuality. And it focuses on guidance rather than punishment, and cooperation rather than control. Now, teachers, the teachers with the archaic mindset are the ones who think to punish, like get the rod, and the rod for them, they want the literal one, beat the child like kingdom come, for you to get the respect that you need. Whereas me as Olive, I'll tell you, speak to the child, tell them about the effects or the repercussions of their actions. Because for everything, I normally, for instance, tell my children that for every action, there are consequences. Now, the consequences might be positive or might be negative, but there will be consequences. If the house has rules, and in this house we say we go to bed at 8:30, we are not on our gadgets until 4 p.m., we don't watch TV until maybe 2 p.m. over the weekend, and you are found watching TV before those hours, there will be consequences. And guess what? I don't have to beat children, but they listen. I don't have to hide their gadgets, but they know before it is this time, we cannot touch them. If you're grounded and you're told because you did this you cannot go outside of the house, they will not go. So is the teacher trying to tell me that that child that is being raised in a place like that, because when we grow up in places of work, are we beaten? We are not beaten, but because we have been well prepared, you will know I have to be at work at this time, I must hand in this report on this day at this time, and you will have to moderate yourself. You will have to make sure you do your job and do it in the right time. So if we are not beaten at our places of work, and if we are preparing these children for the future, for places of work, for living with people in society, why do we think that we have to treat them like criminals when they're young and then expect them to not be treated like criminals or to think that they are criminals? Am I making any sense?
Let me even just add something to what Olive is saying.
Before that, Robert, let's look at the pros of soft parenting. You'll find that there is a stronger emotional bond between the parents and the children. Parents of yesteryears were not soft parents. They did not embrace soft parenting. And guess what? Today you have parents who wonder why their children don't call them. Today you have fathers in Mulago Hospital and any other hospital that don't have any child visiting them. Why? Because he was supposed to be feared and not respected. You enter the house and children scatter. My own dad was very, very tough. Every time he would drive into the gate, we would all scatter. He would just ask, Anya aliao, and you would not see us, because we knew that being in front of him was next to something like really tough and hard. And many people have had the same parents. And then there is children feel seen, heard, and emotionally safe. Right now, we are telling men and even girls that learn to speak, facing issues of mental health and whatnot, mental illness. If I have created a fertile environment for a child to come to me, that's when, in the event that a teacher is behaving inappropriately or any adult is behaving inappropriately, they will come to me. I will not have to hear it from the neighbors. They will come to me. But that archaic thinking of, you don't talk to me, you're there to be seen and not heard, that's why young girls would get pregnant and they would commit suicide or run off with boys and start a marriage, because going home meant I might be killed.
All right, now let's flip the coin a bit. And if you're just joining in, we are talking about a story that made news in one of the dailies, where teachers were decrying the soft, undisciplined children that they get to teach. And it's a conversation that we're delving into. So feel free to WhatsApp your message to 0709602592 and share your opinion. If you're a teacher, please feel free to share your perspective on this. Now, most times children spend more of their time at school than at home. That means they spend more of their time, there are more months, especially for those who are in boarding school. They spend more months. Ideally, a year is 12 months. 8 out of those 12 are spent. 9 months.
3 months at school.
Oh,
Yeah.
So 9 out of those 12
Yes.
are spent at school.
Yes.
And the remaining ones are at home. Parents are busy. Parents wake up when the children are still in bed. They go back when the children are probably sleeping. So that means parents most times lose track of what is going on in these children's lives. If anything, you could find that a teacher knows more about a child than the parent does. So starting with you, Robert, don't you think perhaps teachers are also now facing a problem of having to parent a child who's not parented at home? So this child, that means this child doesn't have boundaries. This child probably doesn't know a yes or a no, a stop, sit. They don't know instruction. They do not have control per se because there's no guidance at home. And
But now, what we are focusing more is when you talk about they're decrying soft and indisciplined. I just want to give you an example, and I want to thank Olive for her very good analysis that she gave here. Have you noticed, why would a teacher in modern day and age move around a school campus with a stick in their hands? Why would a teacher in modern day, in the 21st century, first and foremost handle a stick? Because corporal punishment is prohibited. What is that stick going to do? It doesn't. You know, a stick beats there. And you go to a school and you find a teacher. That alone is a turn-off. One time, one of the said soft kids told a teacher, "Teacher, please don't shout at me. Talk to me, I'll understand." Because she wasn't understanding why a teacher must shout.
And that
child's home
child
must be empowering.
where
And she was a
this
sheep.
is a child that has been empowered
at home.
to
speak up.
to expect respect
Yes.
from others and to give it.
Yes.
So if you want me to respect you,
Please.
why are you
Respect is
disrespecting
earned.
me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And guess what? The teacher said this child is indisciplined. If we keep her in school because she didn't come in an open field. I said, "Why do you say?" "Master, please don't shout at me. Speak to me, I'll listen." What is it? The teacher became, because of that archaic thinking, even that was a reason. That's why I earlier said, you ask a teacher, "Why have you invited us?" Come, you can't, other children, if they hear this, we can't have such a child. Now, these children that are brought up badly, now empowering
Because they speak up.
because a young girl can say, "Teacher, please don't shout at me." Now, when you look at today's parent, yes, rightly they are busy. Rightly, sometimes you don't want things to be that way, but they must. Just like Olive has to leave and be here at 5. Not that she doesn't want to see how my children wake up and all that. But don't forget that still there is that little time that a parent has and instills values in their children. Now, a parent and a teacher in modern day, there must be effective communication. The problem we have is that some of the settings of our schools make it very hard, because if a teacher is having a stream of 100 plus, if a school is having 900 is a small number. Some schools you have 1,000 plus children. Now, the ability of a teacher to better understand a parent. I'll give you a personal example. There's a certain school, we had this child, and the teacher was telling us, put this child on coaching. So we put the child on coaching. We removed the child from the school. But I was there, and the teacher sends a message reminding me of coaching money. He said, "But I removed the child is no longer in that school." So there are incidents where the teacher, we expect to bond with the child and shape this child.
Is overwhelmed.
They're overwhelmed. And this is not only in the UPE schools, but even these high-end schools. I don't want to mention names because I can't.
Robert, maybe to add a little bit on what you're saying, I think the soft parenting that the teachers are decrying is mostly in what we would call the elite schools and from, you know, what you'd call elite families. I'm saying what you'd call, because I have qualms about the whole elite Ugandan society. But yes, this is a parenting style that has been mostly embraced by a certain type of parent
and parents.
And yes, and the school. And yes, what Robert you were mentioning, the parents who are busy, I understand today we have so many needs, and some parents' schedules are really not that
complicated.
flexible.
Yeah.
Exactly. But still, I believe that if we have time to go and hang out with our friends, if we have time to go and have a pint or two of beer, we can still make time for our children. When you spend time with children, and I'm speaking here as a person that has been at this for almost 18 years, when you spend time with children, you don't even need to give them 4 uninterrupted hours. All children need sometimes a few minutes of your undivided attention. So in the time you're with your children, what are you doing? Are you talking to them like one-on-one, trying to understand them? Or you're telling them you're so tired and yet you're on your phone scrolling? Children see where your priorities are. So yes, parents are busy, but I don't think that work is the problem. The problem is priorities.
So it's a matter of giving 100% for as long as you're with
When
them.
you're with them, even if it's 10 minutes, talk to them.
Let it be
Watch
undivided.
movies with them. I told my kids the other day, in holidays, we are going to have a movie time. We are going to make popcorn and sit and watch a movie. Gods must be crazy if you guys watched it.
Yes.
And they were so excited. Let me tell you something. When we sit down and do that, it will be one of their greatest memories. Not me taking them to Planet Water Park. Okay? Okay, maybe that could be a good experience.
That's cherry on top of the iceberg, the content.
But there is that part of my children feel seen. My daughter is 10, and we've started having conversations of womanhood, of course, that are child friendly. And she keeps saying, I'm so lucky to have you. Who would be telling me these things? But now we have also a mom who says, me, I want to talk about that. I'll send her to her aunt. Yet these conversations are opening gates and windows for you to connect and bond with your children.
That's
so
true.
soft parenting is not a problem, Julie and Robert. But maybe when it is ill applied, that's where we'll get into.
You cross the boundaries.
Yes.
There are no boundaries for the children. It's more of like do whatever you want. After all, you're
Actually,
my child.
for me, according
That's-
to the definition of soft parenting, as Olive gave it to us, understand soft parenting to spoiling a child. You know, soft parenting doesn't mean that I don't teach my child responsibilities. I don't teach my child to work.
Yeah.
That's soft, and some teachers will hear them use a term, ebyana babyonona.
Tebigambwako.
Actually, when you say that, you remind me.
Tebina kyebisobola kukola.
I'm blessed to be to have had a mom who has poured heavily cats and dogs. So she wrote a letter. I didn't attend school because of that, and she wrote a letter the following day, took it with me to school, and gave it to the teacher. My goodness, the teacher bullied me seriously in class
How do you not come to school?
because it rained. Yes.
On one hand, he had a point because
Yes.
will you not go to work because it rained?
Yes.
But on the other hand, he should have been more understanding. Your
Yes.
parent knows you.
Because she
better.
explained
Yes.
the why, the movement, the whole process was hard. She's a single mom, and so it was hard. And she explained all of it. Instead, the teacher, who was female at that, made it.
Scoffed her.
Let me just
Yes,
give you
and-
one
and
of the
bullied
things
me
that
in
up to
class.
today, I don't understand, and I pray I meet some of these teachers that taught me, and I ask them if they were psychologically okay.
Most of the hurt people hurt others.
Because- You're a child in P4,
yes.
Your
staying
parent,
some far distant. You're supposed to be at school at 8. Now your parent drives you to the school gate. Mr. Serwaniko is waiting with a bamboo stick. Your father drives away. Then
and
you're
then you're
beaten.
punished.
As
for
opposed
late
to asking
coming.
the parent the why.
Then you're beaten for late coming.
Their
Every time
arguments.
you're delivered late, you're beaten. You can't drive. You don't have the money.
And you don't have
And
that
you're
influence
so
of your
young.
parent to
You don't have the
early.
influence to
Yeah.
your parent.
That's true, that's
by
true.
then, and you're beaten. At some time, I felt like, and these are the things we are talking about today, that some of your children are going through under the disguise they are going through soft parenting. These are soft children and are very indisciplined. So we must very much understand that soft parenting is not bad. Spoiling is what is bad. What do I mean by spoiling? Spoiling may include giving the child excess money.
No boundaries.
No, excess money at school. Because that also teachers don't like it. There are children, I was inside school, where pocket money that they would come with would be a shocker. Would be a shocker.
No, my
because
son
you're
is in
not
a school where
training,
one of his
because you're not
friends is
training
given
this
1.5
child
million
to be
in
responsible
pocket money.
enough and fit within. There is where you think parents will say, I suffered for my children to enjoy.
But they suffered.
They-
their children.
All right.
They
quickly.
don't do any work at home.
This conversation is
When
soon
they go
coming
to
a
school,
close,
they will
Robert.
not be able to do anything. You know, domestic work at home. Then also soft parenting is parents who think the spoiling bit of it, that children don't have respect for people. You go to visit someone, the father says, you sit in a chair, leave that seat. It has an owner here. It
Quickly.
belongs. So those are the extremes that may be bad and spoiling.
Expectations in other people's homes.
Allow me drive the perspective now to cultural expectations and modern expectations.
Wonderful. The two don't match properly.
Yes. What?
Okay.
Please. What do you think?
What was the question?
Whilst I was just painting the background of it.
Yes.
Whilst this Uganda is an African country. Africa, we are very, very cultural people. Our roots are quite important in the way we are raised. And for some teachers, especially, if they feel that the child is not rooted in particular ways, cultural, particular norms, they'll deem it upon themselves to take that responsibility of induction into certain norms. For example, the other time we were talking about senior ladies. While senior ladies are meant to teach us to embrace our femininity, instead they were teaching us to do certain things to prepare for marriage.
Even just greeting.
Yes, because at
how would
home
you
they
greet
felt
while
we were
standing?
not told
But at
those
school
things.
we don't kneel because we are using the white man's
The white-
language.
yes.
And because we are using that language, we also go with some of the norms of that language.
Yes.
Not met an
Yes.
archaic teacher.
At least I went to local schools, but at least I remember I was never forced to kneel for someone at school. But to answer your question, Julie, I think when misapplied, then soft parenting can come into contravention with our norms. I am a Muganda woman and I love my culture. There's so many beautiful things about my culture that I try to teach my children, because in soft parenting we talk hugely or speak hugely on the need for respect. In this home, we respect people. In this home, we do not yell. In this home, we do not lie. And when we go back to the culture, these are the things that we are taught. We are taught to be respectful. We are taught to speak gently. We are taught the way you carry yourself, the way you sit, the way you eat. These are things that are taught us in our norms, and these are things that we still highlight in soft parenting. But when it is misapplied, you will find children that lack boundaries. Their parents, like Robert said, who say, I suffered, I don't want my kids to suffer. But in so doing that, you are raising this person, they do not have any sense of responsibility, they don't do any chores, yet even experts have showed that when children are taught to do chores from a young age, they are being taught responsibility and independence.
And perhaps that's the undisciplined that teachers are facing.
That is the
There's no
misapplication.
teamwork. These children don't know, because if you don't know how to do chores, that means you don't have the element of teamwork.
Exactly. And that is also the misapplication of soft parenting, which Robert likes to call spoiling. Then there is parental burnout. If you do not apply the soft parenting rules well, you're going to burn out. Picture this. Single mom, you have a boy child at home, but because you do not want him to suffer, you will imagine I'm here at 6 and then I have to wake up because I have no maid and cook for my son who is 17 and clean the house, and so that he can have a good time when he's at home. He spends the entire day
On his
playing
PlayStation.
video games and watching movies. I go home, I am tired, I am stressed, I am going to burn out. That is misapplication. Teach your children to do chores, let them have responsibility, and you as a parent, you will rest. I am a soft parenter, but my children do chores, and I tell them I had children so that I may rest.
Oh, wow.
And then there is the confused authority.
Yes.
When we misapply soft parenting, children don't know who is in authority. You've seen kids that call their parents by their
By
names.
their names.
Only,
But you know, you say that, Olive. You say this one time there is a lady I knew, and at that time, the times of Facebook, when Facebook was all over the place, she used to post a lot about her son, and she's a single mom. So I've worked with this lady, and I've been around the son, and the son addresses her by her name. The son doesn't call her by mom.
That is very wrong.
So most times you find him saying, Olive, Robert, I need this. So many times people complained about it, and she took it to Facebook and put up a long post where she said that she is raising an independent man.
no.
So for those who are complaining that her son addresses her by her name, should actually keep it low.
But
Now,
let me ask
I-
you,
I
Robert,
just-
let me
And there are many
forgive
who
me
think like
just
her.
a minute. You could find, though, it's not okay for me. I mean, there is no way in this
I mean,
world
I'm
where
not yet a mother,
child of
but I cannot
Najuma will
catch you.
address her as Najuma. It's not going to happen.
Yes.
But let's allow some room for wiggle.
Okay.
You could find that some parents are open-minded. You can call them by their name, but then the other things are correct. You're respecting them. You're talking gently to them. You get. So it could be that that part is okay, but the other things have been well streamlined. Though I don't know. It's
I
hard
think
for me
it's
to.
sort of-
Let me just
it
chip in
sort
a
of
bit.
trickles
Let me
into
just
it.
chip
By
in a
the
bit.
time a child gets the gusto to address you like their mate,
There are no boundaries.
yeah, there are no boundaries.
I would believe that because also I've had some tricky moment. I have a son who has never who calls me bro. You know?
Wow.
And many times, even one of my colleagues here asked me, "But why does your child call you bro?"
And I've also
Have
told
you-
you at one
and-
point,
and Olive
Robert,
knows
that's
that.
not
Have
okay.
you looked into it? Have you told him about it?
Somehow it happened since I don't know how he woke up very young and began, and I never corrected it.
You
But what
should.
is funny is
How
that
old is he?
the man is now making 7 years.
Why?
But you
Let
find that I may not have an offense because he still respects me as dad. And everything he knows, this is dad. And he has that respect. So we should leave room for certain
go,
things.
but-
However, calling someone by their name, you're not going to call the maid by their name, because when the maid at our house, she's called auntie.
Auntie. Yeah.
But Robert,
don't call her by the
if
name.
it is okay for him to call you by your name, what makes you think that when he is 10, 15, he will be compelled to call the maid by something else other than their name?
No,
By the way,
a
it's
son,
okay to
no,
call
in a
the
family
maid
where
by their
children,
name, but still.
in a home where children call parents by name, the maid cannot have a title. Definitely the maid is also called by name.
Yes.
So that is right.
But
And
what I
later
want
when
to-
you grow in authority, titles are part of people.
Robert, I want to dig into your mind briefly. Why is it, I want to understand, because me as Olive Najuma, I do not see a time in this life where my child would ever address me by my name. But that's me. Since your child calls you bro, I need to understand. Why do you find that okay? I'm trying to understand.
First, I see the closeness. That yes, much as he calls me bro, he knows I'm the father and respects that. But also there is a way that we relate.
Like those kids calling
That
their
is
parents
more
baby
like
boy.
we relate like more like
I'm not yet a mom, but
we relate like more like we are at a brotherly level, but
Do
not
you
taking.
want to be brotherly with your son, or you want to be fatherly? What is brotherly?
I love to be both. I love to carry the two in
will
me.
you be able to have boundaries for both? A time where he will
When
know
he
that
is a
it's dad
teenager.
speaking,
and
and a
I've
time where he will know that it's
and
my
from the
brother speaking.
onset, I try to put those limits. Why? Olive talked about us growing up, and the fathers were really tough people. Even if you are playing soccer and you had a car, those days cars were not very, you would know that that is my father's car. You'd scatter, your friends pass through, barbed wires and everything like that. Now, I learned that in this day and age, the closer you are to your child, the more they are free with you, the more they are able to open up.
That part
Amazing.
I agree, but how is
Olive,
it finding out?
Let's bring this to a close. And Olive is going to close with this. What do you think is the role of the teachers?
Teachers are co-parents. But for teachers to co-parent, we need to do our job as parents. Soft parenting is okay. But if you misapply it, then there is going to be an issue that teachers will grapple to solve. Unfortunately, many of our teachers don't have the tools to solve certain issues without resorting to violence. And the violence I'm talking about is corporal punishment. I recently saw 2 incidents where one, a girl who was suspected of stealing someone else's pocket money, was beaten to a point that her buttocks were oozing blood. Then there was the incident of the teacher who kept telling the boys, like he was beating, like he's beating a thief. And one of these boys was saying, I am sick. I am sick. So he got up and the teacher was offended because the child refused to stay down to be beaten. If we don't do our job right, then the teachers are going to have issues trying to help our children. So as parents, it goes back to us. Yes, we are busy, but we can create the time. You cannot convince me that you're too busy to inculcate some values and norms into your children, yet you have time to go for Virunga Marathon. You have to go time to go for the Kabaka's birthday run. You have time to go for evening lessons that Robert likes. Create the time.
What is also there must be training to change the mindset of teachers.
Yes.
Some teachers are locked in the old mindset and they have refused to adjust with the times. These are not soft, indisciplined children. These are children who have been raised in a different way. So move away from analog, come to the digital platform.
Some are disciplined.
Thank you so much, Robert and Olive. It's been beautiful to see the perspectives of especially parents, those who are already parents and already practicing it, as to the conversation of teachers decrying soft, undisciplined children that they have to deal with in schools. It's UBC Good Morning Uganda. Up next is Grace Mugume. She is a musician and we'll be talking to her shortly.
Uganda. In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Juko.
Yo.
Wachikuwa. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Wagana wange. Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief, and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government, designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
I'd love to take this opportunity to thank our President, Yoweri Kaguta Turihabura Museveni, by coming up with a Emyooga program. We started in 2021 as Kasumi Parish Carpenters Emyooga Circle. When we received this amount of 30 million, we had a problem, we had a challenge of machines. We used to carry our wood and we would carry it up to Waise to be worked on. So when we got this chance, we are able to buy machines to ease our work of carpentry. At the moment, we are a number composed of 140 members. We have the women who come in and do saloon chairs. We have the men doing 3-drawer tables, 2-drawer tables, and different kind of furniture. Before the Emyooga program came in, we had a lot of crimes taking place on this road. When this Emyooga program came up, we managed to collect these youths. We gave them hope that you can change from stealing, and we can give you skill so that you be someone in the society that will even help another person.
Kansoke ddala okwebaza omukulembeze w'eggwanga olw'emirimu emirungi gy'atutaddemu ngaffe abavubuka. Nze nno nze omu ku abo abaabeeranga ku kkubo okwo emisana n'ekiro ng'oluusi olw'okuba naffe tunoonya ekyokulya nga gwa kiyina oba mmwe twakiyitanga b'amalala bagenda beerabisa nga tubagwamu munnange era nga tuba tulina obbikuggyako naffe ne tubaawo. Naye munnange neebaza kyamani wange wa wano yankwatako nno wamu ne bannange twatandika okukozesa mashini zino, tandika okuwawula, okulanda, okukola dizayini, emmeeza zino tuzifulumya, entebe bwe ziti. Tulina emirimu gy'otutandikirako emyangu okugeza ng'okufulumya obumotoka buno. Kano akamotoka n'omwana omuto w'emyaka 5 akafulumya. Bw'ova mu kufulumya akamotoka kano owawula, okukwata oluwawu n'owawula emmeeza ng'eno n'ebeera smooth. Oluvaawo nga bakutwala ku mashini eno olubaawo lukole bwoti lutambe. Bwe ntyo ndi wa mukisa byonna saabisasulira. Najja wano ne baŋŋamba President Museveni bino ebyuma yabituwa. Byammwe mulina okuba nga mubikozesa. Omukisa ne ngutwala. Era neebaza kuba kati ne bwe mba nvudde wano ne ŋŋenda ewalala. Ne bwe ŋŋenda Sudan nsobola okusigala nga ndi mulimu gwe gumu ogw'obubazzi ne gumbeezaawo wamu ne famire yange. Ku savingi wange ebimu ku byentereka bwe bampa akasente kange nfulumya emmeeza yange eno bino kiri wano si kya kiyamaani waffe nedda wano tulinawo itemu zaffe kati ku ssaawa eno zonjogera wano ninawo emmeeza ezange 5 n'entebe 12 ezitambulira ku mmeeza ezo nga zange era nga zo ne baba bazituuze wali ssente baziwanze oluusi emirimu n'emirala ne gijja ne bagala twafunye omulimu bwe kuti mujje mufulumye entebe wano zino bwezi timugakukola ssente bwe kityo emyoga gino kuba nagyegattako bingi byenfunye edda nze nali nga sisobola kusasula nnyumba gye mbeeramu era nja kunoonya gye ngenda okusula mu mifulejje era eyo mifulejje gye ngenda okusanga ote oli ajja atamidde nga ye ate alina n'essimu gy'amulisa kale ebintu ng'ebyo nze kati ninawe nsula era saawa eziwera nti zino saawa zakwebaka olwo nga nsimbula nga ngenda neebaka nawasa tadde n'abaana nno munnange sebo kulembeze weebale bageto yuti mwenna gye muli wabweru eyo temutya temwerumaluma nkata temudda mu biki temulobera mu projekiti za gavumenti kuba zino projekiti ziriwo kutuyamba ffe zaffe zirina kutuyimusa kututeeka ku ddaala ddala bwe lwonazoberamu abalala bazeegaseemu ffe nga tukola ki bweiba bwe bityo.
Because of this Emyoga program, we have been able to pick such different youth, mentor them, we train them. After learning, they also go up, even start their businesses. We have people buying from us, schools, we have factories, companies. They come and give us very juicy contracts. And out of that, that's how we've managed to accumulate this amount of saving of 70 million. So I would love to thank the President of Uganda that because of the Emyoga program, we've done what they call mindset change. Those who used to think of going for prostitution, we've captured them and changed their mind. They are here trying to do work, trying to get skills. Those used to steal, they are also here trying to get skills. We have been job seekers, but now we are no longer job seekers. We are job creators.
The project began in 2021 when the president brought this Emyoga. The circle, it has 435 members with 23 associations. When you move in the community right now, mothers, they have done a lot because they have saved and they have got money. They are educating their children. There is a difference right now before when Emyoga was introduced. For example, there is another association which saved their money. They bought a milling machine. They are earning money. Every day they are getting something for a living. They are not suffering. They are doing well. We have another association, now younger single mothers. Those girls, they dropped out of school because of that process of COVID. They end up getting pregnant. So when you try to move around, educate them, form associations so that they also benefit from this project, we got those girls. Now those girls, after teaching them, they picked an interest. When they picked an interest, we told them to begin saving. So when they saved like 1.3 something. They got their 4 million. They went and they bought an oven. They began producing cakes. They supplied them to schools. They make cookies. They supply to schools. They cleared the loan, and even right now, they have saved. They have their 3 million on the account as I speak.
I'm very grateful for the program of Emyoga, which was brought up by the president. It has really changed my life. Actually, I'm this girl who thought my life, maybe my future has ended there. Actually, I'd lost hope in everything. I was not earning, I was having a child, I was not getting enough, just washing clothes for people like that. So they combined us together as young girls and we made a group of 30 people together. We didn't have any knowledge about Emyoga until they had to sensitize us about what Emyoga means. So we bought the idea and we also joined the circle under Emyoga. So as a group of young girls who were 30, we received the 5M. We brought the idea of baking as a group. because most of the people had that same idea of bringing baking on board. So we had to get a trainer who had to take us in that process of baking. We started making cakes, we started making daddies, snacks, and we started selling them. So we started with a small business of making like cakes for 500, these small ones, like a packet has 50. So if you have to make like 4 packets, we get 120 when we have used the 40,000. So when you use 40,000, which means the 80 is the profit. So as a group still we had to sit and we think a way forward of the profit we are getting out of the baking. We started the saving process as the young girls. We started our own saving and we had to divide that money equally so that everyone earns. We didn't stop there, we brought in poultry. We started rearing those birds. So those birds have now grown, they can now rear eggs, and now those eggs we use them in our baking process and some of the products. I dropped out of school thinking that maybe I could not go back, I could not access school again. But under this Imyoga, the money we get in those savings, since we are young, still those mothers had to advise us that you are getting something. Can't you be able to go back to school? Imyoga is now there, the SAC is now there. They can give you the loan and you go back to school. As you bake, you make the profit, still you can be paying in installment. Me personally, I had to go back to school. I sat for my senior 4. Now this year I was in Form 5. Now I had to go to Form 6 just because of the Imyoga process. I'd lost hope thinking maybe my education had ended there. But when we started that thing, it had really helped me personally. Now I'm able to provide some stuff for myself. As I get that money, I can buy clothes for my kid. Myself, I can buy food for myself. So it has really helped me to reach where I am right now, and it has really been beneficial and encouraging to other people outside there. We have motivated and inspired other young girls outside there, and also telling them what we are doing is really good, and they also admire to do what? To join what we are doing. So we didn't stop there, even as we had to sensitize more groups. So 3 groups of young girls have also joined us. So we have 4 groups, and each group having 30, 30, 30. So that's a total of 120 girls.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Zamani kwenye milite kaveyo Nandi wade nafa na yolo musai ndi wano masogo mukama Nandi wade nafa na yolo musai ndi wano masogo mukama Nandi wade nafa wangula musai ndi wano masogo Nandi wade nafa na yolo musai ndi wano masogo mukama Oro musai na itamuchi wambe chokufa na wangula Nandi wade nafa na yolo musai ndi wano masogo mukama Banja bagenze nzani okubawo Ela ramusa mpita wali awasibu awanjiwe balemererwa olw'omusaayi ne mpitawo awanjiwe balemererwa olw'omusaayi ne mpitawo. Yandibadde nafadda naye olw'omusaayi ndi wano mu maaso ge. Yandibadde nafa naye olw'omusaayi ndi wano mu maaso g'Omukama. Okubeerawo kwa kisiikiriza kyanga kinkuuma wakati mu bizibu. Yandibadde nafa naye olw'omusaayi ndi wano mu maaso g'Omukama. Ebirungi by'ompadde taata n'obujulizi mbufunye mu musaayi ne olw'omusaayi olw'eri n'essanyu eddembe lyange ekiwummulo biveyo mu musaayi mu maaso g'Omukama mu maaso g'Omukama nze yali yazaawa wandeeta mu maaso g'Omukama nze yali omuzibe azibula amaaso nze yali tasaanira n'ompita omwana wangula n'omusaayi ku musaalaba e Gologota mazima nandibadde nafa n'okwatirwa ekisa kamuname muname muname woli.
All right. That is Grace Mugume with a powerful song, a song with a powerful message. We recently just celebrated Easter, and last Friday we had a conversation on what the meaning of Easter was, and really the reason for Easter and life, really. Jesus is the reason. And in her song, she talks about the blood of Jesus, that Jesus Christ purchased each one of us with his blood, and that is the one reason why we are existing and are able to live in purpose if we choose to believe. Her name is Grace Mugume. Good morning, Grace.
Good morning, ma'am.
Thank you so much for joining us on UBC.
Amen.
What is the title to that particular song? Because I love the lyrical content, but I'm not so sure if it's called Wangula no Musai or Mumaso Gomukama.
It's called Nandibadde Nafa.
Wow. Surely.
Yeah, it is a testimony of my life. I've gone through a lot of things and I would really be dead by now. But because of the blood of Jesus, it is the reason why I'm here.
Amazing.
So the song is all about that, the
Yes.
blood and what the blood is doing for me.
Amazing. A testimony in there. And Grace Mugume is the artist we have for you today. As always, every Friday, GMU, Good Morning Uganda's Friday edition is one to lighten your mood, but also to still inspire you. And Grace Mugume is a worshiper, a powerful worshiper from her church. And she's here to talk more about obviously her music, but as well as her ministry and what pushes her into her ministry, but also to serve us with her amazing worship songs. So once again, thank you so much for joining us, Grace.
You're welcome.
All right. How is husband?
Mr. Mugume.
Mr. Mugume.
He's fine. I have 2 children.
Glory to God.
Yes, a boy and a girl. They are also fine.
Amazing. So let's talk about ministry. That particular song that has just played is one that is very powerful. And it's one that you say you sang it from a testimony of your life. Do you always have to sing music that's from your life, or it's one that cuts across?
My story is a little different. I usually sing songs from my story. I don't just sing. All the songs I sing, if you listen to all my music, it's literally a testimony.
It's your life story.
Life story, testimonies, like the journey of my life, the goodness of God. It is always scripture, biblical, yeah. But about my life.
You talk about your music being very scriptural and biblical, and I'm reminded of some of the gospel songs we know of that have titles, that are neither in the Bible, but it's dialect that we don't understand. It's just a song, a word to make the song sound nice. What's your perspective in how we create as people who minister, who sing gospel music? What's your perspective on creating gospel music biblically or just creatively without necessarily the Bible?
Okay, I think we are given different giftings, as the Bible says, but as a gospel minister, you should be different from a secular artist. So if a secular artist is looking for just a word, you should go in the Bible and find out, like you draw life from the Bible to give to the world. We should be different from the world. The Bible says that we are in the world, but not of the world. So in my view, my own perspective, I think as Christians, as gospel ministers, we should sing the gospel, and the gospel is in the Bible.
So that means whatever we sing must have a message. And that means whatever word we say, if at all it's out of mere creativity, it might be empty of the message. Is that what you're trying to mean?
That is my perspective.
Yes, in your perspective. Amazing. Grace Mugume is with us in studio today, and this is really learning a lot from her. Someone who worships the Lord. I know worship is deep. It takes a lot.
It
takes
is
a toll.
deep. It is a relationship with God. You have to build that capacity, you know. You don't just come and sing. Worship is not just singing. It is like you pour your heart before the Lord. You mean every word you're singing. It is a relationship. You don't just sing.
Do you write your music?
Yes, I do.
So take us through the whole creating process of writing your music from when you pen it. What's the process like?
Way back, I used to write. Like I get a pen, I start writing, I think. But these days, it's kind of different because sometimes I'm in prayer. Sometimes you're praying, then a song pops into your mind, and then I don't sing everything I sing in prayer, but when a message comes and it is supposed to be shared, you know it, yes, and that's when I get out my phone, you record it, and then I have to build that, because you don't get the whole thing sometimes. You will get like a chorus, then you sit down and you open the Bible, you start relating what you got in the scriptures, then you write a song. So that is how I get songs. Most of the times, most of the recent songs, I get them through prayer. Yes, but way back, I used to write. I have a lot of songs, but I believe every song has a season. Because sometimes you go through the songs and you're like, this one is not to be recorded right now. And sometimes you get a new song there and then, and you feel like I should
It's
do
for
this.
the moment.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very deep and it's very important. How many songs have you recorded so far?
Recorded songs without video, there are 22.
Wow. And how many are in the backlog, the ones that are waiting?
3.
Wow. Amazing. And I think you're still writing.
A lot more is coming.
Yeah. You remind me of someone I once asked. They have a lot of songs out there, but I asked them and they told me that they still had over 200 songs waiting to be recorded. So that's why I was pushed to ask to just see if you're in the same space, but I understand you still have more coming.
I have a lot of songs, even the unrecorded ones. I have like a whole black book full of songs, but like I told you, I record. I don't just record. I will wait. If I feel the song, like it's really the right time to do it, then I'll do it.
Do you worship in church, service ministry?
Yes, my ministry is entirely in church. Yeah, I don't move a lot. I don't move out a lot. I don't go on many stages. Yes, I'm a Christian, by the way, and I go to UCC Kasubi, United Christian Center, Inner Man Ministries, Kasubi Makere, Chikoni. Yes, so I've been in that church ever since I was 13 years old.
Wow,
13.
That's a lot of years.
Yes, and I've spent 22 years in the same place. 20 years in the same place. I went to that church when I was a baby, like in senior 1. I got married in the same church. had my babies in the same church.
Wow.
And recently I had a concert in the same church.
Wow.
Yes, I've been in that church for 20 years. Yes, so my ministry is entirely based in church. I am a minister in church. I serve my church through worship. I am a worship leader. I work with someone, but I am a worship leader in my church. Yes, and I assist the music director too. Yes.
Do you hope to perform outside of church one time?
I usually go, but it's not too much moving out. Yes. When I receive an invitation from a church or from someone, I ask for permission, and when they let me go, I go. Yeah, but I don't move around churches.
How about concerts? The different gospel concerts that are usually held.
I usually go when I'm invited.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I move on invitation. So if you want me to come to your church, you invite me. I'll definitely come.
Oh, that's amazing, and I think you will also be sharing your contacts as to how we could get you.
Yeah.
But you are a married woman.
Yes.
And I understand the field, it's busy, but balancing it with ministry sometimes it's hard. You have children already. How do you balance that?
I'm married, and this year I'm making 10 years in marriage. The first 4 years I didn't have children. I was barren. By the grace of God, I got children in my fourth year. It is a little challenging to be married and in ministry because all the fields are demanding. But by the grace of God, you balance. You balance because, like a Christian minister, you have to have like a good marriage. You have to be an example to others. So in my church, they usually tell us that your first ministry is your home.
Yes.
So before you come to us, you sing for us, how did you leave your family? You have to minister to your family first before you minister to anyone. So you find ways of balancing things. You find ways of balancing your children, your husband, your ministry. Like when you go to church, sometimes I tell people that it is very good to stand before the congregation and your husband too is lifting hands. Like they don't have anything, like a grudge, like a disappointment, like anything in between you and them. So you have to work really hard. I work really hard, Mama. I work really hard to leave my family happy and then do ministry. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's powerful. Now Grace Mugume is still here with us, and she has such a rich conversation. She's a good storyteller, very rich indeed. But let's allow her perform more of her music. She'll be back to bless us more. Good morning, Uganda.
Hey, oh, situla, situla kubiwa wati obyo, situla kubiwa wati obyo, sonde kama vekantu kanyana mutindo, situla kubiwa wati obyo, Yesu, kubibega mukusaba moyo, situla kubiwa wati obyo, oh yeah 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 yeah, oh yeah 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 yeah, oh. Yangu irizako, moyo wa mkama nyangu yako, koyo kwabula, moyo ni mwana kwetera, oh oh, zirusako, moyo wa tata zirusa, ontukirize, komezewe myake jalibwa, yawe, wewa mami ensi yatonda mangu w'amami ya Yesu yava muntana ukibwa kumagenda gange aya echokola simanyi mayamayi tata mpamanyi kubiwa watirobyo ndi munafu kurangenza seiza nyambako omoya yamba bandafu kwesize ingira musonga yange sulire bibuze biri munderi yingira musonga zafe aya moyo sirina mulala sirina walala ninakwe katonda wange chakulya mbere yo yetaga mugwe tuli ku mavivi tukunoonya yingira mu nsonga zaffe songa yange eno yensonga yange songa y'amabanja nayo ziyingiremu yasubirayo amazinga gakombe okubulwa kukombe songa y'abaana bange kukula nentuka wano era nzikiriza ntono ntusa wangamba nsanyukire mugwe onampa omutima geguyayanira onganya okulaba ku bulungi mu nsendo ey'abalamu nzikiriza okulaba obulungi bw'omukama Museno, oh mukama aya nzikiriza buli kigambo kyewayogera ku bulamu bwange agoge mazima oh mukama aya wagamba nsaba kwesiga tulinga olusozi Sayuni terujulukuka oh mukama nzikiriza kulaba obulungi bwo nzikiriza kulaba obulungi bwo yawe eyo gyempitira bangi bambuza ebibuuzo Katonda waliwa bwakoledde ki oyo Katondawo bw'owaanawaana enswalaswalanga abanjeyanga bangi naye mmanyi nga siri bulungi leero enkya ajja kunkolera Katonda wange zikiriza kulaba obulungi bwa Mukama aye toganya balabe bange kunsekerera aba banteseza obubi zikiriza kulaba obugagga bwo zikiriza kulaba ekitiibwa ky'otaze buli kiseera kirinaawe kikoma n'amazige wange leka gakome ajakola ajakunyamba nange Katonda wange yakolera Kana ajakola nakolera Sara ajakola Katonda wange yagamba tulizimba ennyumba ne tuzisulamu ajakola Katonda wange zikiriza kulaba ekitiibwa kye naye
katonda wange kulaba obulungi bwe ginalaba omukisa emirimu gyange zikiriza kulaba obulungi bwe atakola.
Thank you, Grace.
You're welcome.
You have really, really blessed us. This particular one is called Ajakola. Obulunjibo.
You're giving me titles.
Well, I guess the one that stands out predominantly is the one I take as a title. It's a mistake many of us make, but thank you for correcting me. It's Obulunjibo.
Yeah.
When did you release this particular one?
Like 8 years back.
And the sound still is fresh.
Thank you.
Glory to God, eh? Now, behind the scenes, we're having a conversation, and now that you talked about the fact that you are in ministry, you serve in your church, you're leading your church in the worship department, what do you think of gospel music as a ministry becoming an industry? Is it right for us to say gospel music industry, or we should stick to gospel music as a ministry?
I think gospel music should be a ministry, but olw'okuba tuli mu nsi nga buli omu alina by'anoonya, some people take it as banoonya kye balya. But ministries should be purely ministry, and the Bible says that where there's a vision, there's provision, and tetulina kubeera at the back of our mind, I need this, ninakola sente bweziti. Lwakuba kati, it is hard to say such things in this generation, my dear. Someone will look at you and like, bano bapya tebamanyi kye boogerako, but truly, ministry should be ministry.
So does that mean when, for example, I invite you to perform at an event I've put up, meanwhile I'm asking people to pay at the entrance, and then I ask you to perform and tell you it's just for ministry, then I don't pay you?
Oh, that's what you meant.
No. Look at it in that lens as well.
I think in church, if you're performing in church, I shouldn't even say performing. If you're ministering in church, you shouldn't ask for money. Church is entirely ministry. But if it is a wedding, a wedding you can ask for the money you want. If it is a concert and there's payment, you should pay the artist. Even me recently, I had a concert and I paid all the artists that came. Yes, because that is, people paid at the entrance. But if they call me in church, like to minister in church, me as Grace Mugume, I don't ask for money. But if they give me something, a token of appreciation, then I'll take. But I don't charge. I make 1 million, then I'll come.
Makes sense.
That is me.
It totally makes sense. And thank you so much for your opinion and honesty. That is Grace Mugume. So where do we find you if we want to get in touch with you for weddings? Where is your music playing? How can we get in touch with you?
My music, my worship sessions, you can find them on my channel, the YouTube channel, Grace Mugume. Yes, please subscribe to that channel. You will be receiving all the music you want. The new music, the old music, the worship sessions, the preachings, everything about Grace Mugume on my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Facebook. I use the same names. But still, you can come to my church at UCC Makere in Aman Ministries. If you ask for Grace Mugume, Obo to say, but still you can call me on my phone. Is it okay if I give out my phone?
Sorry?
Is it okay if I give out my phone?
Yes, please.
Yes. You can call me on my number. My MTN line is 0771 48 13 43. And my Airtel line is 0705 81 20 81. You can contact me on those numbers. You can call me to your church. You can call me on a wedding. You can invite me on your concert. You can be asking something about ministry. Yes.
Thank you so much, Grace Mugume. It's been such an honor to be blessed by your worship.
Thank you so much.
And continue blessing the Lord.
Amen.
And blessing the world with the Lord's gift for you.
Amen.
All right, that's it from Grace Mugume and myself as well. But Olive is up next with the movies that you can look forward to as you get into the weekend. So Good Morning Uganda does continue.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shape our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
In all these years, we emphasize 2 words, wealth and jobs, and we try to waken our people up to show them where wealth and jobs come from.
The Parish Development Model, PDM, is a bold initiative that is reshaping Uganda's rural economy. By allocating 100 million shillings to each parish annually, PDM empowers households by unlocking opportunities for wealth creation.
This program will be maintained. Each year we send 100 million for the parish. If you get the 1 million, you can buy some goats, you can buy some pigs, you can buy even young cows.
Farmers are transitioning from subsistence farming to commercial agriculture, laying the groundwork for wealth creation and improved livelihoods.
This project started 11 years ago after an inspiration from His Excellency. And that time I was working as a taxi driver. I was doing that Massa business in Soroti, and he was talking about how to improve household income.
With the PDM, you bring back the money after 24 months, but in the 3rd year, you would get another 100 million paid back by those who got first.
The President's message is a mindset changer. Becoming rich does not mean you should have a lot of land, you should have a lot of education, you just need a vision and implement and start from where you are.
So therefore, this PDM is to get all of you out of poverty. That's why we said 100 million per parish per year.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning. My name is Olive Monica Najuma, and I am here to recommend some beautiful movies for you to watch this weekend. But let me ask, what have you been watching over this last week? What did you watch last week? Did you even try to look out for the movies that I recommended? What am I watching? As Olive, I am watching 1923, a prequel to Yellowstone. If you watched Yellowstone, I recommend that you watch 1923. You will get to understand the story of the Dutons, how they started, how they got all that land in Montana. But that's not the official recommendation. I have recommendations for movies. 1923 is a series, if you are into series. Now, looking at what I have here today, I have I Hostage, which is a 2025 Dutch crime film directed by Bobby Bomans, and the film is based on the hostage situation that took place in the Apple Store in Amsterdam in 2022. Now, the film is set in an Apple Store in the heart of Amsterdam, where a hostage situation is taking place. The perpetrator, who is wearing a bomb vest, threatens to blow himself up and with the building and the hostages. In this tense situation, the perspectives of the perpetrator, hostages, and the emergency services who are trying to prevent this possible tragedy are switched. Let's look at the trailer.
En vandaag is die dag gekomen.
Iedereen op de grond.
Wegwezen, binnen! Altijd willen jullie bijna. Nu heb ik de bas. Lay down, you. Stay on the ground.
Er zijn 1 man. Het wapen, camouflagekleding. OCR draagt iets van explosieven.
Je spreekt met Lin, politie Amsterdam. Ik wil graag met je praten.
Jullie allemaal. Is al een tijdje zo. Onrecht dat jullie me constant hebben aangedaan. Daar is dit voor.
En ik ben heel hard voor je bezig. Geloof je dat? Ik wil jou je levend uit hebben.
Fucking bitch dat je bent!
God, Kees, het helpt niet. Als ik iets zeg, moet het wel kloppen. Hij heeft hulp nodig. En daarvoor zijn we er ook, als onderhandelaars.
Lin, we kunnen het risico niet lopen.
Ja, maar ik ben er daar.
Moet hier weg.
Als we die deur opentrekken, zijn we dood.
Hij is absoluut onvoorspelbaar. En dus gevaarlijk.
Let's say they won't give you the money. You kill me, and then what?
Then they win, and they lose.
Geef me 1 uur.
Je schiet allemaal kogels door hem heen, ja? Liggen, nu, liggen!
Ooit houdt het op. En vandaag is die dag.
Geef me 1 uur.
Well, there you have it. I Hostage, starring Sofiani Maztuli as Ama Aja, Admil Sehovic as the hostage, and many more. And this movie was premiered worldwide on streaming service Netflix on 18th April 2025. So it is still very fresh. Look out for it. Now, the next recommendation is Alarum, which is a 2025 American action crime film directed by Michael Polish. And its plot goes: Joe and Laura, who were once rivals, fall in love during a mission and decide to go rogue to get married. They manage to escape their respective agencies and establish a quiet life, but their peace is shattered when a plane crash near their cabin reveals a hard drive that several organizations want. Let's look at the trailer.
Clock's running. Don't waste it. We are not here to unleash chaos. We are here to define it. The final hour won't be boring.
Good morning.
This isn't a vacation. You're working a mark.
I'm on standby.
Fine. Take care. Mwah.
Maybe they're both working for Alarum.
They want to tear down the global intelligence network. Get me a list of the closest arbiters.
I'm open for business.
We have a location on Archibald.
Did you take anything?
Where you?
I think I officially jinxed the trip.
Stay alive.
How do you know she's not playing you? Did she join Alarm? This is an AA-12. Pick up one of these.
Good to work with you again.
Yeah.
Be ready for disaster. You can bring your army, you can bring your own. You're trying to defeat me, but there's no way I can fall in the end.
Inflict as much damage as you can. Ever use a frag grenade?
I am unstoppable.
Two Americans against all your men. Go, go, go!
You can bring your army. You're trying to defeat me, but there's no way I can fall. I am unstoppable.
The only flaw with this weapon is it makes everything too easy.
Wow, coming in as the second recommendation, it is starring Scott Eastwood as Agent Joe Travers. Now, you've seen Scott Eastwood in movies like The Suicide Squad, you've seen him in The Furious 8, and of course, you know his father from Escape from Alcatraz and $1 Million Baby. It's a family of actors that have done splendidly. Now, the other actor in this room is Sylvester Stallone as Agent Chester. I don't really need to talk about Sylvester Stallone. We know what he's done. Then we have Willa Fitzgerald as Agent Laura, Mike Coulter as Olin, among others. Now, this movie was released on January 2025, so you can find it at your nearest video library. Now, the next recommendation is Heads of State, which is an upcoming American action comedy film directed by Ilya Nashla, and it stars John Cena. Now, the plot follows two government leaders that must set aside their rivalry to save the world. Let's have a look at the trailer.
Mr. Prime Minister. Mr. President. It's our debut duet. Duet? Yeah, it's like I'm Dr. Dre and you're Eminem, and we're taking that stage for the first time together. I'm Eminem. What is it with you, walking around thinking you're better than everybody else? What's the difference between me and you? You are the commander-in-chief, you know, some DJ in Vegas. So what's the difference between us? All right, I get it, you don't like my movies. I've never seen your movies. But the universe keeps telling me I look cool with a gun in my hand. What's the difference between me and you? A toy gun. What's that? That can't be good. Oh, shit. Yeah, their ass is kicked, man. Read the room.
A lot of people want you dead. My mission is to deliver you back up.
What's the playbook on this?
There is no damn playbook.
Let's make one. Not in the movies now, son.
Kicking ass on a wild side.
Come on!
Yes, that thing is crash queen.
Who's the action hero now?
Well, two heads are definitely better than one, as we will see in this movie, Heads of State, starring John Cena as the President of the United States, but also my man, Idris Elba, as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. And we have Priyank Chopra join us as an MI6 agent. This must be exciting. Now, this movie will be released on July 2nd, 2025. I'm already excited. I hope you are. But I will be saying goodbye to you right about now because Good Morning Uganda is almost coming to an end, but not before Ruben Chibirango Puma comes in to tell us what he has for us in sports. I'll catch you on Monday. See you and enjoy sports.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information